Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. We are live on Twitch and also YouTube. Head over to YouTube and watch us at Tom and Dan Live. We would love to have you subscribe. And SJ even, he's like speaking out of turn. Our buddy Eric came by this morning and he was like, hey, why don't you say if you guys get to 10,000 subscribers, you'll throw a party at Hollowbox. So I'll just lie and say that.
Yeah, well, I mean, how many do we have now?
We need 3,000 more.
Well, hold on. That's a lot of work.
That's a lot of work.
For 3,000 clicks.
Yeah, you with 3,000 clicks, and we'll throw them a party.
No, they're going to get more than that. We got to get another, you got to get to 20,000.
20,000,
and then we'll throw
20,000, we'll throw a party. There we go.
Yeah,
20,000, we'll throw a party. That works.
Actually, 3,000. We'll never get there.
I know, that's what I was thinking. I thought it was an impossible task. I really thought it was an impossible task.
Yeah, you know what? We'll throw a party for 10,000.
All right, 10,000. There you go.
Anyway, before we start, I want to remind everybody the Orlando Museum of Art has an exhibit right now. It's a Grant Britton exhibit. It's skateboard photography. They're doing he's doing a conversation with Tony Hawk. He's buddies with Tony Hawk. He's bringing Tony Hawk in, and it's going to be at their little theater that they have inside the actual Museum of Art.
It's a super intimate, super pro little theater right there inside the museum. You get to be like 50 feet from Tony Hawk. Grant Britton will be on the stage. They'll be kind of walking through the most famous skateboarding photographs of all time.
And just telling stories about early skateboarding days and like how it transitioned and everything. And then there's a Q&A. And if you use promo code Tom and Dan, you can get tickets to the Museum of Art to go and see all the exhibits. They got a really cool punk rock exhibit going on right now, and then the Push exhibit, and there's the Golden Books. It was super cool.
The little Golden Books.
Yeah, right after the punk rock exhibit, I'm like, it's a Golden Books exhibit that I've been reading to my kids for years.
It'll cleanse your palate after you see some hardcore British punk rock.
And again, use promo code Tom and Dan, and that is November 7th, the Tony Hawk Grant Britton conversation.
But I would jump on the tickets. They're reasonably priced.
Yeah, and they probably will sell out of the meet and greet's already sold out. So this is the only tickets available, and they're limited.
And I'll just say this: I know I'm literally I'm putting words in my own mouth here, right? But Tony Hawk has been saying on many different podcasts, and I listen to a lot of them, that he is pulling back. This guy is done it for his entire life. It's not like he's going to go, you know what, I'm going to go gas down harder. I think he's pulling back. So if you really want to see him, this is your chance to see it at probably the best venue you could ever experience it. Because it's small.
Yeah, it's right here.
It's very
close
intimate.
As hell.
So there you go. Give it a shot.
Let's do some Weird Job.
Weird Job on deck now. Tom wanted to do a bit. He called it Weird Job Wednesday. Dan really likes it. Tom says that's bullshit. It's another Weird Job Wednesday. What are you doing? What is your job? Are you neat? Are you tidy? Or are you a fat slob? Do you make lots of money and you sit up in your tower looking down on all the people who are working by the hour? It's a Weird Job Wednesday. Just another Weird Job Wednesday. Oh yes, it's Weird Job Wednesday. Just another Weird Job Wednesday. Thank you, Tom. Thank you.
Weird Job Wednesday brought to you by Bucket Brigade Junk Removal. That's bucketbrigadejunk.com. If you got junk in the Claremont area or West Orlando, give them a call and get it removed by the best looking first responders I've ever seen.
Yeah, are we allowed to say that? Like, I feel like, they really are. They really are.
Insanely good looking.
6'10"
firefighters
and carrying a fireman's axe. Big axe.
So this Weird Job Wednesday is a little unique because we're checking back in.
Yes, we are.
To a weird job we did a while ago.
Yes.
And
this is called Are You Still Struggling?
Yeah. Ryan Reece is here. How you doing, Ryan?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good to see you, man. How you been?
I've been good. Thanks for having me back.
And
always.
Ryan Reece is an author, and we talked about his other book the last time, and he has a new book out So we're kind of checking in how being an author is working out for Ryan.
Yeah. Do you get, like, I guess let's start back where we last left off. The last, and correct me if I'm wrong, the last novel that you wrote was about what do you like?
Water restoration, mystery, murder mystery.
Exactly.
Correct, yeah.
And that one, do you, like, how do you decide once you've put that one out there, and how long has it been since we had you in, do you know?
Maybe a year, because it's been about almost exactly a year since the last one came out.
All right.
Okay.
Almost, yeah.
All right.
So this new book is a thriller, and but just by looking at the front of it, it's a it looks like a horror.
It's more horror
story.
suspense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's
So-
this one called?
So this one's called Full Gut, which is a reference to a term in the restoration or construction world where a full gut is, let's say your studio had water in it and you didn't have the AC on for a whole year and it's just covered with mold. There's nothing you can do about it. It's beyond salvageable. So we got to gut it down to the skeletal framework and come back in and redo everything. So that's a full gut. So the minute I heard that, I was like, oh man, that would make a great title.
Yeah,
And so,
you also stole the name of EJ's biography that he was going to write. And so now he's going to change it to
Big Fat Slob.
two airplane seats. I don't know what you're going to call it.
Yeah.
So it seems like you like writing thrillers or horror books, correct?
well, yeah, because people read them.
Yeah. Like, is it one of the more popular genres of, like, what are the most popular ones?
Like, like commercial thriller novels. I mean, they're exciting. It's how you make something, not so exciting. Like, I'm not into the law, but I love legal thrillers.
Yeah.
And so, and I've learned a lot about the law through them. Or, through science with techno thrillers, like Michael Crichton novels, and, anything else kind of like that. Romance is also very popular, so I have not entertained that yet.
I think I could write that really gooey romance.
Don't call it gooey.
Yeah.
But you know the ones I'm talking about, because the ladies like I'm being serious.
Like the 50 Shades of Grey.
I think they make you uncomfortable, but I have a very good friend that will remain nameless, Summer, who loves these spicy novels.
No.
And I think I could write them.
I have
Throbbing, moist.
my friends' wives tell me about
Heaving bosoms.
they read these, and I'm like, words make you horny.
Yeah.
I'm like, no word
Did you know
has
that?
ever
Write
made me
that down.
horny.
Write that down. He can't write. But write that down. Women like words.
I've never read anything that
You
got
never
it
did that
going.
Penthouse Forum?
No.
So yeah.
Only pictures, and then
No,
when
as a true artist, I can read some
Yeah.
words and get one going. Like,
Yeah.
I can read a Penthouse. There was a Penthouse Forum about a DJ, like a DJ at like a bar, and the girls kept coming up into the DJ booth, and I was like, that's what I'm gonna be when I grow up, a strip club DJ.
Well, it's funny, when I worked at Books A Million when 50 Shades of Grey came out, and I was the guy who would go in the back and help unload the trucks, saran-wrapped crates of that book, and we'd sell all of them in maybe 2 or 3 days, and here comes the truck again, another one. And I sold them to everybody, from children to elderly people.
children.
Yeah.
You gotta do what you gotta do when you're a book man.
That was the one
Yeah.
book we had to ID for.
I'm
I
your
felt
mama, I'm your daddy, I'm that
Yeah.
N-word on the alley.
we had to ID
your
for the
pusher
book,
man.
and I felt terrible being like, it's kind of a weird feeling to ID for a book. I've worked in a convenience store before, like cigarettes and beer, I get it, but for a novel, but like
Heaving
sometimes
bosoms, it's heaving bosoms.
How old did you have to be?
18.
Oh, you had to be 18?
Yeah.
Hold on. NC-17.
It's considered erotica.
Yeah, but NC-17 is like there was a Showgirls, right?
Yeah,
That was good. That pool
And-
scene, holy
Yeah,
smokes,
yeah.
the pool scene, the pool scene with
Right.
the nerd from what's that? Twin Peaks. The Twin Peaks nerd
Yeah,
is getting
yeah.
grinded.
Kyle MacLachlan.
Kyle
Yeah.
gets ground
Yeah.
into the pool. He's straight gunite after
You
that.
should be able to buy the book when you're 17 if you can watch that movie when you're 17.
If you were cool, I feel like you and I with the tattoos. If I was like a little boy and you were working at Books A Million, I'm like,
Yeah.
come on, dude, I really want this.
I think if you're old enough to know what it is, you're old enough to read it.
Yeah.
So, but there was also like people's parents would be like, no, it's okay. But then there was times where I'd be like, hey, I'm sorry, I got to deny this to you, and the kid would be mad. It was that.
You denied
popular.
some?
How
Right.
It
dirty
was my
is it?
job.
it is your job. You don't want to lose your job either. I don't never fault anybody for doing whatever they got to do to protect their bacon. You know.
Yeah, that was one of my weird jobs. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
We've never had a Books a Million person. I've always wondered who would work at one of those.
Right.
I have too thought about like it would be fun to work at one of those, only because I've always wanted to ignore people that are standing at the "Please wait here" sign while I straightened up something behind the counter, and they always do that. And it drives me mad. I'm like, call me over, come on.
We had a great customer once you guys might like. We called him the old pervert.
Okay.
Kenny was there.
He would go to the back of the store where we had all of our huge magazine rack, and all of the Playboys and other magazines of similar content were in that wrapping, you know?
Yeah.
And this guy who dressed like he was in the 1930s, old guy, would go back, collect them all, sit at the little Starbucks we had in there, and unwrap them. And slowly, he'd spend 3 hours in there, slowly
memorizing them,
flipping through them,
he's downloading them.
And so all the managers were all women, and they would come up to me and go, "Hey, you got to go talk to that guy."
He's
I'm
not
like,
doing
me?
anything. He's just reading.
That's what I said. I was like, he's not bothering anybody, and like it's so inappropriate. I'm
It's
like,
not.
he
It's
bought a
not.
coffee, you know, like he's
It's
a customer.
Fine. It's fine. It's no different than him over there thumbing through Calvin and Hobbes. No different. It's no different.
And if I was the old pervert, I would make the argument if you did come over and say, "Sir, you can't be thumbing through the Playboys
right.
here," I would be like, "Well, you sell them."
Right.
Yeah.
So what the hell?
exactly.
You're the drug dealer.
Yeah, like you sell these things here. I'm thumbing through them.
Yeah.
Is this legal? to
Exactly.
thumb through?
coffee. God damn it.
I bought a coffee. Like,
Yeah.
so if you don't like this and you can't sell this anymore.
I love this old pervert.
Yeah.
I hope he's still doing it.
Which is weird that Books a Million is still selling Playboy.
Do they still sell those?
I don't think they do it anymore. No. It's been quite a few years
been a
since I've worked
billion?
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give us a great chance.
Did he buy them or did he put them back?
No, he didn't buy them. He
Oh.
would leave them on the table,
Yeah.
and
I'll leave these
with
out
all
for
the
some
trash.
boys. Yeah.
And so that's what we'd really get upset about. But
I'll
we
leave
had
it
a,
here in my sweet and low package.
You just leave it? Hold on.
But
Hold on.
our magazine rep would come back and go, "No, it's okay. We can always rewrap them."
Well, he's only got 60
So-
seconds of a boater to get to the car. He's like, I got to run to the car and get this thing going.
Right.
Oh, yeah. It'll be gone by the time he gets to the car.
He
I
gets
know.
to the car. He's like, God damn, I can't get the door unlocked.
Yeah.
Oh, I got to go back in and give it the 45 more seconds before I run back to the car.
Also, old man, hold on.
Are you speaking to
Just-
me? You can pretend I'm the old man if you'd like.
Just buy the Playboy and bring it home.
He didn't have enough money. They're expensive, dude. There was a time when I
$7,
wanted
right?
there was a time when I wanted a nudie mag and I like go to buy. I remember I went to buy like a Wii or a Hustler or something. I wanted the good stuff, you know. I didn't want Playboy. I wanted like a Penthouse. And I think that you would go up there like to buy one, they'd scan it to be like $28.50. I'm like $28.
You know what I'm mad about? That I never showed my pop-up. The internet was full
Too
of
much.
porn.
No, it's too much. It'd be too much for him.
He never.
He'd become the
He'd have a
lawnmower
heart
man.
attack.
It'd be too much
No,
for
I
him.
think he'd like it because
No. I think he'd become obsessed with it. He'd kill him instantly. I don't think they could handle it, man. Like, it's too... Like, if I showed my dad X
never
videos...
got to see it.
If I showed my dad X videos and I just said, "Now, Dad, type in Asian," it would... I'm coming!
Too stimulating.
Yeah, Dad.
No. I think
Dad.
it would have made his world. Like he would have been like, "Oh my God, unlimited anything."
Or maybe he'd reject it. He'd slowly close the laptop and he'd be
No,
like...
I like
and then
it.
he'd look at me and be like, "How many people know about this?"
Yeah.
So Ryan, back to Full Gut.
Yeah,
Let's talk about the book a little bit.
So when you're writing a horror novel, right? Do you find yourself like, because people like, I guess the tropes, if that's the correct word, that they use in horror movies
Yeah, you're
and
right.
novels.
That's right.
And so,
Yeah, lead me down a path that's familiar,
but
and then mess with me a little bit.
Sure.
But then again, like they tend to criticize people for doing the same thing over and over. Like if the girl's running through the woods,
I like that. And their
then,
top
you know,
falls
you know,
off. Right.
and then, if the black friend dies first,
Yeah.
all these things that happen, like
Yeah.
people
The
get mad.
cliches.
The
Which,
cliches.
based on athleticism, is not accurate. But
Yeah. Or,
That's
you know,
just-
or they're making out at the makeout bluff, and then they hear something rubbing against the top of the car,
Yeah.
and then it turns
Oh,
out
what
it's
is that?
it's his
it's your
girlfriend hanging from the, all the
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
So,
Right.
So do you do you find yourself staying away from those things? Or?
So with this one, a little bit of yes and no. So it's based off of an actual job we did when I worked for a restoration company. Are you aware of Hantoon Island?
Come on,
yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
Are you
Yeah.
kidding me?
Yeah.
I fingered more girls there than any place in the world. I have to edit that out. Yeah.
So there's buildings over there. Like there's like a welcome center and some other structures. that are like-
I've been there multiple times on my boat. We camped there one time.
That's where Tom and I may or may not have almost got arrested.
Okay, so after one of the hurricanes, it flooded. And so every structure, including the park ranger's home on the island, got flooded.
Yeah.
And
It's still not open, by the way.
Exactly. So that was one of our full guts. And so I went there. I worked in the marketing department. So I went to go check on it, take photos and all this kind of stuff, before and after kind of stuff. And
hold on, before you keep going.
Yeah.
Dear Hontoon Island Rangers.
This is how he writes letters. He has to say them out loud, and he thinks that there's a woman in the other room, like taking dictation. It's not true.
Hontoon Island flooded 2.5 years ago.
yeah.
Well, the senator's still been out of commission for the last 4.
I've been planning to go camping there with my son. I want to go boat camping and to throw a bunch of camping equipment and then take my sons up there and camp on Hontoon Island.
That'll be fun.
And every couple months I check on the website and I'm like, they've had to rebuild it now.
I've tried to go back to research the book and I couldn't get on the ferry.
No.
Maybe there's a little bit more there than we all know about. Maybe they're hiding something.
Hey, maybe this book will popularize it again and they'll get started on it.
We need to hide government laziness because that's the problem.
Yeah,
here.
write a book about that.
Yeah.
And I think no one's in a hurry to start back up the Hontoon Island State Park for whatever reason. I think everybody still gets paid. I think the Rangers figured out, like, hey, we get paid the same salary.
Yeah, whether I give you firewood or not. Like I do.
And now we have to deal with
because you're not here.
visitors.
I don't have to sell you deet. I don't have to bring you wood. It's a lot easier just to drive my golf cart in a circle and be like, all clear.
And I don't blame you, because if I was a ranger and everything got flooded and then I spent 2 years just hanging out on the island doing nothing.
All I do is walk around. It's moist out here and I smoke weed all day.
I mean, it's dry already. Dry as hell. It's been years.
Right.
I think maybe I wouldn't be in a hurry to rebuild it either. But listen, some of us want to use our state parks.
Yeah.
And I want to bring my sons there camping before they get too old and don't want to hang out with their old man.
So there is no word on this? Have you?
I haven't looked into it, no. But I went back in the middle of writing this because, going back to the job we were doing, just walking around it, and it got towards the evening time, so going back to cliches and all that, I just got this creepy island feel, and everything was desolate and abandoned, and we were tearing stuff down all day. I already had the name in mind, and so that's where the idea started, and then that's what kicked it off. So, restoration technicians, they usually have a team that are assigned to a van, and they'll go out to a job. So to me, I already kind of had this cliche of like a Scooby-Doo-esque, Texas Chainsaw Massacre-esque.
Okay, all right.
5 people in a van going out to a secluded area.
Is there a dog?
There's no dog.
Okay. All right.
So-
Just asking. I would be willing to lend my voice to the cartoon Scrappy-Doo version of whatever detective
Is there
you have in place.
a thick nerd?
Yeah,
That's what I like.
yeah. A thick nerd that says
No,
she's
the cool
lesbian
part
but
is-
hasn't had me yet.
So
3 C's thick.
the cliche
Yeah,
ends
big.
though because since they're restoration technicians, they have tools and they're educated in certain chemicals, and so
Well, this sounds like a video game.
that gave me exactly that gave the characters. Because each person a part of these restoration teams is like, there's a chemicals expert, there's someone who does heavy lifting, a shorter person who can crawl into crawl spaces.
That's me.
And then the crew chief who kind of leads the team and talks with the client and all that.
You're the dumb lifter, man.
So-
Yeah,
I'm the chief.
I knew you were going
I
to say
talk
that.
to the clients. That's what I do for a living.
I go in small spaces and you lift heavy crap.
No, I
you are
talk to-
not the chief.
No, I talk to the clients.
You're not the chief.
All
He
right.
thought he was Native American and wanted me to call him chief for a very long time.
And so all of them use their skills to the problem at hand, which is
Wizard needs food.
So the problem is that it's a mysterious island with a defunct government laboratory on it that hasn't been open for years.
Oh, it's like Lost. There's a
And
smoke
so
monster.
that's what they're going to restore. Little do they know, there's a monster on the island. Little do they also not know is that
and that
the
monster
government,
is Puff Daddy. Oh, buddy.
the government also is planning to gas the entire island. That's their attempt to kill the monster that they know about. Meanwhile, the boss back at HQ of the company knows this stuff, but thinks they can get them in and out fast enough to get the $1 million job that they think that they're getting. So the crew doesn't know it. So, of course, they have to battle both Monster and then also the government's plans to kill everything on the island.
All right. That sounds fun. I like that a lot, man.
So when you're thinking about the monster, right, where do you go?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Because there's lots of different ways you can go with it. I'm looking here, and there is a alligator look to the monster, and so is that obviously Florida, Pontoon Island, walking alligator monster is the best one.
So the facility they go to clean is a animal disease center that was once a thriving and very productive research facility.
Yeah, this is what you know. That's the scam, right? You put a little research center on everything you do, and then people come and see it. All you got to do is have some dumb animal in a cage or something. And you're like, look, we're doing research.
So there's history in the book. I won't spoil all of it, but the island or the research center is getting shut down to lack of funding because vaccines are expensive to make. And so there's a scientist who comes up with an idea to say, well, what if we combined the DNA of Florida's top most brutal predators, and this is black bears, coyotes, panthers, and alligators. And so that's kind of how that the experiment takes place, and of course it goes wrong and all that, and that is the amalgamation of all of that research.
So what's the hardest? I mean, so you get all this done, you go through, you get your rough draft done, and then you instantly go, okay, I think this is good, and you start sending it out?
Yeah. So A Larger Loss, which was the first book I came on to talk about, that took 2 years to write. And this one, the first draft, took 9 days. Just because I learned what not to do with the last one, because I wrote the first one by hand at first because it was my first book. I didn't really take it seriously. I've tried stuff like that before. And then once I actually got through it all, I had like a stack this thick of legal pads, and I was like, damn, I guess I have to type this up now. And I have such bad handwriting that I couldn't really read what I even wrote.
Gotcha.
And so I had to guess, and it just took way too long. So I'm typing this one right from the beginning. And I had the title, I've been to the location, I had the idea. It was so clear to me right from the get-go that I was able to finish it early, but then editing took like a solid year of getting all that done.
Wow.
So,
that's awesome, man.
And I don't want to give you ideas for Full Gut Part 2, but there is an Indian shell mound in Pontoon Island, and maybe some Indian shell mound ghosts.
Yeah.
For Part 2. Because this is more like real monster, and maybe Full Gut 2 can go into ghosts.
But I'm not scared of ghosts. I don't believe in any of that, so it's never scared me. Even ghost movies or paranormal, I was never into that. It was always things that could actually almost plausibly kill me that I'm scared
walking alligator.
I said plausibly.
Ryan, you can't.
Alligator monsters are scary.
Plausibly.
You can't say you don't believe in ghosts, and then my idea is stupid.
Well, when you
didn't say that,
you're
you
walking
just felt
alligator.
bad. You just felt bad.
The hardest part was to make it sound believable. Trust me. That the research they had to do, the stuff that I had to read and look at, it was that's why the book is a lot shorter than A Larger Loss 2, was because I was getting halfway through it, and I'm like, oh my god, how much more can I take of this? Because it's a pretty brutal novel.
Yeah. Well, how do you decide what to, or does your editor really help in that? Are there things, and this is a serious question, are there best practices? Because look, I know that some of my humor and the things that I say, if I went full bore, there'd be some people who'd be like, okay, well, I get what you're doing, but no, man, right? So how do you balance it to be quote brutal enough, because you do want that, right? You want it to be slightly jarring,
right?
But it doesn't stay in that world.
So it's more of the atmosphere too. So there's a handful of really violent scenes and death scenes, of course, and all that. That's what you could expect. But even when things are calm, since it's an island, the cicadas are loud. You hear owls. The moon's out. Mosquitoes are biting them. There's a scene where they also battle nature as well throughout the whole thing. So. Cool. Even in the more tamer parts, they're dealing with the elements. And so I like to look at it as more of an ordeal. It's every page has something on it where there's some sort of suffering happening, but it's not so extreme every time.
Right.
Yeah.
He's trying to build the scene up.
Right.
Is there a scene? I'll just go over some of my favorite horror movie scenes that you can sprinkle
The classics. The classics.
where either the girlfriend is running from the alligator monster, and then she falls in the woods, and then her hand lands on what she thinks is her boyfriend's hand. It actually is her boyfriend's hand, and then for a split second she feels comforted. She's like, "Oh, thank God you're here," and then she picks up the hand is severed off. There's all these. I love that one.
Right.
And then she's like, "Ah!"
So
there's a scene in it where they find a character finds a bear trap, and he sets up this plan to capture the monster. And the monster is more intelligent than that, and dodges it. And then later in a later scene, another character accidentally steps on it. And so there's things that they do that they think they're plotting right that go wrong eventually.
Oh,
so
they're
not,
Tom Van.
It's,
You're gonna like this book.
Step in his own trap.
Wait till you see my bear trap.
I love stepping in my own trap. I do
Where's
it all the
Daniel?
time.
He got killed in Tom's bear trap.
So it's not only the aggressor that is causing the violence. It's also accidents in nature, and it just nothing goes kind of as it should.
Now, is there anything that you put in there that your editor's like, nah, dog, we can't roll?
Yes, the first draft is gnarly, I will say, because that was one where I was like, that's what I like to do with first drafts is just don't stop to get it done.
Yeah.
So I won't say it here, but there was a sex scene originally that got taken out, and it was on this massive putrid pile of flesh, and they looked at it, and two people looked at it, and that was the one thing they both said, like, hey, like, there's really no reason for this.
The whole scene where the gator monster is banging everybody on the pile of, like, that's weird.
There's no reason for
but
this.
he loves it, dude.
Yeah.
He's a sex sex
a bunch of corpses. They're like, Ryan.
Right. You
Yeah.
gotta pull that back. Well, that's how he expresses his dominance to his other victims is by, performing sex on a pile of flesh.
So now, let's go to the business side of things.
Yeah,
Sure.
This is the truly scary part.
So when you, how many books do you get printed to start with?
Mm-hmm.
Is there a lot of print on demand, order on demand?
Right.
Like, how does the distribution work nowadays?
Right, it's print on demand mostly.
Yeah.
But I get a certain couple hundred books delivered to me to kind of do whatever I want with, and so like that's where that book came out. It came out of that pile.
Nice.
And so I can go around here to different bookstores and try to get them in there and all that kind of stuff. My first book was distributed in California. In some Barnes and Nobles.
Nice.
The publisher had a certain deal over there, and I was like, hey, I'm on the complete opposite side of the country. Can we get some over here? But I got kind of grandfathered into this whole thing. But anyway,
That's awesome.
mostly on demand, and kind of just four-walling it myself and going around and doing what I can.
And besides from like this, how do you go about marketing? Like, I know the publisher, they probably have some marketing deal where like, hey, we get you out on these websites, but is it up to the
We put you as the headline on our Facebook page.
Right.
Because I know sometimes with bands, it's this way too, where like the record label, like, hey, we'll do a little bit, but it's up to you. You got to grind out your own marketing.
Yeah.
And then if you reach a certain plateau, maybe then we'll kick in a certain amount of money. Like, is there something like that?
Yeah. So with A Larger Loss, it was harder because since it was kind of a general thriller, you couldn't tack it down to like what kind of was it, and nobody really knew what restoration was or. So it was kind of hard by the cover to tell what kind of book it was. So that cover is hand painted by an artist here in town.
Oh, whoa.
And I said, hey, I want it to look this certain scary way so anybody can look at it and immediately go, oh, it's a horror or suspense novel.
Yeah.
So the publisher and I work in marketing too, so we kind of collaborated on this deal where, hey, since it's so clearly identified as a horror book, we took to social media and search marketing this time because the horror audience is so defined, and this has such a face to it with the cover that it'll be instantly recognizable as a scary horror book, even with the title. And so we did a hardcore social media campaign promoting my website.
Nice.
And then press releases, the usual kind of crap. But with social media, I'm sure you guys, you can dial it down to certain age ranges.
Oh, yeah.
And
you can go right to your
interests,
guys. Yeah.
This and that. And so we went hard with that, and that's been super successful, actually.
Okay.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine that if you're reading, like my wife is, she reads like, I don't know, 200 books a year or something like that. I mean, she's an avid reader.
200.
Yeah, it's crazy. And my daughter's not that far behind her. They like to read.
That's great.
Daddy, more of a video game fatso. But anyway, so like she'll read a lot of them, but like she'll get in groups that'll be like, it'll be like women that like books that are based in Maine, that are love stories that are not sexual but are romantic, that involve doctors and young professional women. Boom.
Right.
And then there'll be 1 billion books on that, and they all
Yes.
Because, like, so for you, like, books on horror that are locally sourced or written out of Florida, I'm sure there's a group on Reddit where...
Well, you'd be surprised because I've embarrassed myself already quite a few times because, like, you guys are familiar with Sanford. There's a bookstore in Sanford that is very... pink, shall I say?
Okay.
And white and bright and mostly romance focused. And I went in there with that, and I'm like, "Hi." It stood out like a sore thumb.
Oh,
you know. And I'm like, I'm 6'5" too, so like even just me with my tattoos and this book, like they looked at me like I was crazy.
Did you tell them about the alligator sex?
I'll put the putrid flesh back.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So it's hard for me. I feel like there's a lot of writers groups. Like I've even looked at now I released it purposely in October because I felt like it'd be more. That was part of the marketing strategy.
Nice. Yeah.
People would be more in tune to read something like that, and I thought I'd find more reader, writer, horror novel book events. And the ones that I have gone to are still these like more frilly kind of like, oh, the witch's lover and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, this is like really kind of like down to earth, brutal, and so it's kind of hard. It's been hard to find an audience locally.
Ryan, are authors, or is this totally against the author's code, using AI at all to like write the base of their story and then they just go back in
or
and
even
change
edit
it?
I could see an idea where you would like write it by hand and then throw it in AI and just like, hey, glaring mistakes, help me out here, maybe.
Yeah, there's a lot of big like legal cases that they're trying to because people are like finishing George R.R. Martin's Game of Thrones series because it takes them a while to finish his books, so they'll use like ChatGPT to like guess
like hurry up,
what
you
it's gonna
dumb
be.
old man.
And so, but I mean, I'm sure other people do, but like I like writing. That's the thing. Like I don't want something else to do it for me. I actually like sitting down and doing it and screwing it up and then fixing it. And writing really takes place in the editing process too. So I enjoy that process. But I mean, I don't. What's the point though if you're just gonna let a chatbot write it?
I think I'm pretty good at figuring out chatbot they're writing. Like I can see the
like
when people give it to me, like I can look at it. Even emails, I can look at it and be like, I don't know about that.
Even if I wanted to, I couldn't because a chatbot needs to have like the learning system of what you're talking about. Write me a restoration thriller novel about a gator monster on Hantoon Island, and it would have no idea what I was talking about and wouldn't be able to generate anything anyway.
See, that's where me and you differ, Ryan, because if someone told me, like, you could do this yourself or have someone else do it for you, I will.
Someone else, please.
I mean, if someone called me this morning and were like, hey, someone else will do the show, all you just,
well, here's the address. I'll text Dan.
I'm joking. Well, Ryan, where can people find the book? How did they order it?
Yeah, right now it's only on Amazon,
Nice.
or you can go to my website, which is ryan-reece.com. And
is there a name for the alligator monster?
There is.
Okay. All right. Don't give it up.
Okay,
Don't give it up.
yeah,
I just wanted to know if there was one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Real quick, can I tell you about some hate mail that I've got?
Yes, and I'll tell you something. I got some right now.
So already, somebody already. So we were talking about like before. Like, how do people like reach out with critiques to you?
Yeah.
And I'm always waiting for like a DM on Instagram or a Facebook message or something like that. But it's been email through the website. And this one person with full gut just, I guess it's funny, but the subject line just read trash.
Aww.
And then, which I thought was
harsh.
hilarious.
That's harsh, though.
Yeah.
Like when you say something, like I do that for effect. When you're like, it's trash.
But I laughed when she's like, the first line of the body was, I don't even know where to begin.
Oh, really? Oh, that's like when you get a review of like a restaurant and they're like, I don't even know where to start on it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And she just pointed out like, this made me laugh. She was like, you use too many 4-letter words.
No,
Yeah.
they were like it was some like
Some old granny.
some religious
You
granny.
blew her slippers off.
Yeah.
She's mad at you.
Which is interesting to me because if you like obviously you are a fan of books, right?
Yeah.
If you came across your book, like you probably read a lot of books.
You have to be an avid reader, I would imagine.
And if you're reading a fictional book, right, then you may not like the story or whatever. It may not be for you, but to say it's generally trash is ridiculous because you don't understand the concept of that fiction is subjective, which
Right.
it has to be,
Yeah.
right? So it's like looking at a painting and be like, it's horrible. Well,
I'm like, did you see the
may not like
cover?
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, so it's ridiculous to even like definitively say something's horrible if it's fiction. Because it can't be. It's horrible to you, so you have to say like I
didn't like that.
Don't like it.
Yeah, you can just say that's not
But
for me.
You have to say I with
Yeah,
every critique of
also,
fiction.
like we've gotten to it used to be that like critiques didn't carry as much weight if you didn't do anything. You know, like
Yes.
there used to be a value, and before social media. Like, you would look at the person, and they'd see how they're dressed, and you have, like, a firefighter telling you that, and you'd be like, well, you don't write, so what do you know? You know what I mean? Like, now, it's like people just launch off their opinions of everything, and then you just sit there and suffer with it.
Or like negative
so.
press was like used as the positive press, which would make people interested. You know, like I think of like people like John Waters.
I think this would work for you, though. I really do.
Yeah.
Like, taking her review and just saying trash.
Yeah.
You use too many 4-letter words. You had the entire chat room was like, we're listening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so what else have you got? Any
so
other
with
feedback?
the first book for A Larger Loss, somebody reached out thinking that you know, I was going to expose the restoration industry and like insurance adjusters, and it was some sort of like expose when it's a fictional thriller novel where there's villains and heroes and suspenseful scenes and it's fun.
Yeah.
And so her email was very long. She like wrote a whole essay, but basically it said, you know, I thought you were going to like expose this industry for the frauds that they are. I personally suffered a damage, and the fact that you made heroes out of these characters, there's no such thing. It can't be done. Everybody in this business is scoundrels.
That's a great underused word too. Scoundrels.
Yeah,
is great.
and
yeah.
Well, that is true.
My next book's gonna be called Solar.
Well, it's funny you say that. She called it propaganda. And so I was like, you got to be kidding me. You know, I kind of wrote it as my own critique. I joked on the industry that I worked in.
Sure, because you're in it.
And so like it was just supposed to be fun. And again, it's not an OSHA manual. You know, it's a fun story, just like how Full Gut is too.
Yeah.
So that's all they're supposed to be, are fun stories. I don't. You know, last time I was here, it's like I told you guys, like I got off my high horse, took off the beret, trying to be too literary.
Yeah.
Where these are just fun stories that I like to write.
I like that, man. That's awesome. Well, congrats
Thank you very
with
much.
everything, man. I'm glad it's going so well.
Is there like a number goal for like
good question.
the amount of books sold? I'm just curious, like how, like
Yeah, there are. So
Okay.
since I'm still relatively unknown, it's really capped at 1,000 right now.
Okay.
So even A Larger Loss, almost being a year old now, still hasn't met that number. I'll admit it. You know, I'm not a bestseller.
Yeah, no, that's
No, dude,
it's hard.
I'm
to-
impressed
Yeah.
that hundreds is to me is
It's like
impressive.
761.
That's a lot.
Or
Oh, yeah,
2,
yeah.
3, something like that. So
You sold more books than there are listeners to some podcasts,
yeah.
and
No,
you
for
should
sure.
feel really good
The
about
thing
that.
is, though, it's like that's also ebooks. That's also actual physical copies. The one thing I haven't gotten to, because it's so expensive, is audio. And a lot of people say, I would, but like I'm busy, man. I would listen to it in my commute. I would listen to it while I run. You guys probably know, like audio is one of those media formats where it can be kind of done anywhere. You put in your AirPods and you're good to go. You can also do dishes while you do it. You can't do dishes and read a physical copy of a novel at the same
Jackal's
time.
saying to call him. He said he can, cut you a break on that. He could. Jackal
On
knows
audio.
what he- Yeah,
I'm
Jackal knows
all
what he's
for
doing.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
hold on, you got a good voice, not
Yeah,
to cut
you do
Jackal
good.
out of
I tried.
anything.
It's harder
do
than
have
it
a good
looks.
voice.
It's harder than it looks.
But it's probably easier to read your own words that you wrote, and then
Well, you know how the story's supposed to go.
Yeah. And now the recording equipment is so cheap.
It is.
Now it takes a long time.
I think
to
we
read
can
a book.
help you with that.
It's
man.
it's enunciating and
Yeah.
like getting it right. And
But we know people. I
Yeah.
could do it. Jackal could do it. Like we know people that do. We have listeners that are professionals. Our buddy Sylvia that we just interviewed last week for Weird Job. She's a vocal
Right.
like we can connect you with the right people.
Okay.
You just put a blanket over your head and get a Zoom recorder.
He's not. I would
then a
love to make fun
flashlight.
of what he's saying, but
Yeah.
he's not wrong.
Right.
And just read it.
The equipment that they have now, it gets better every single day. Like this computer is only 5 years old. This is a hunk of
It's
crap.
not the equipment. It's being able to read the story in a I hate my voice. I feel like I'm too nasally, but I need somebody for this that who can really sell the story. You know, if you ever listen to a great audio book.
like Tracy Morgan. Oh man.
Yeah, like I felt like my
I
first book
want
should
to
have been
make
read by a
love
woman.
to you on this pile of putrid flesh. I want to make you pregnant on this flesh, girl.
Yeah, but you're right. And then, and then it's a gamble, too, because you have to pay a bunch of money to record it. And
Right.
then,
Yeah, and then the guy that voiced it for you is a pedophile. And then you're like, oh my God, what do you do? Just speed it up 5%. They'll never know it's happening.
Yeah.
and then you're yelling at everybody who told you that they'd buy an audiobook. And you're like, where are the sales?
You
Right.
lied.
Right.
You
Right.
lied to me.
Right.
Because
it
people
costs
will
money
do that.
to write a book.
People will suggest a piece of merchandise, and then we'll put it out,
Yeah,
and then the sales will be barely
I don't
anything.
suggest nothing anymore. Like they tell me, oh Dan, you should really do tank tops. I go, shut your filthy mouth. I'm not doing anything you say. You're just trying to waste our money.
Well, Ryan, thanks so much for
Hey.
coming in
Yeah.
again.
Good
Yeah.
luck with it, man. And again, where can people find it?
Amazon
Ryan-Reece.com?
and Ryan-Reece.com. Yeah.
There you go. All right, guys.
You should get it on Temu.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
But a
right.
very cheap, smaller, crappier version.
Right.
And then a man in a diaper with no other clothes on will have to pull it through a tiny hole and then load it on a truck. Have you seen the naked Temu workers?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, it's sad.
It
It's
is,
sad.
yeah.
It looks like the old New Jack City drug scenes where it was the big black mamas.
They're
with
probably
their...
the ones printing my book.
Do you know what I'm talking about? In New Jack City, they'd be packaging the drugs, and it's all black women with their boobies out. That scene, I'd always freeze frame it. I'd be like, yeah, baby.
All right. We will see you tomorrow.
It is a corporate time with Tom and Dan. I'm Dan.
I'm Tom. We've got Joey Mazzant here. How you doing, Joey?
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me back.
Joey Mazzant hangs out at the theme parks.
Before we start, I want to remind everybody, next Thursday is that Grant Britton Tony Hawk discussion at the Orlando Museum of Art.
Yeah, man.
You can go to omart.org or you can go to tomandan.com. You can see the Tony Hawk Grant Britton thumbnail. Just click on that. It'll go to tickets. There's only tickets left to the discussion portion.
It's like a panel. You get to
Yeah.
see Tony and Grant discuss their entire history of hanging out together and basically documenting skateboarding history just from basically when it started.
Yeah, and there's a small auditorium inside the Museum of Art that the discussion's happening. It's super intimate.
Yeah, man, it's nice.
And tickets are $100. If you use promo code Tom and Dan, you'll get free passes to the Orlando Museum of Art with that purchase, and you can go back and see the Grant Britton exhibit.
There's
and
plenty of other
punk rock.
exhibits to see
it's
there. There's
cool.
a punk rock exhibit. There's a little Golden Book exhibit. There's a guitar exhibit. Lots of fun stuff to look at there at the Museum of Art.
So get your tickets, and that's next Thursday. Daniel and I will be out there as well.
We will indeed.
So we hope to see you there. So Joey, how you
Nice.
doing?
There you
Real
go.
good, sir. Real good. Thank
Good
you
to
so
see
much.
you, man.
You too.
Before we get into theme parks, and I just want to touch on a little bit of Steelers.
I figured you might want to touch on the Steelers.
I almost brought Iron City beer in today to celebrate.
'Cause I was
Yeah.
watching,
Your Steelers look pretty good.
I was watching them win again last night. Which,
They're a winning franchise, Tom. The Steelers are a winning franchise.
and you know it's funny. If,
You know how long Tomlin's been coaching the Steelers? A lot of people don't know this. 91 years he's been coaching the Steelers.
I
almost want to believe it.
Yeah, it's close to 20, right?
Yeah.
Didn't he start in when did he start? 04?
Trying to remember. I think it was
It's
still
been
in
a long
college.
anyway. It's
Yeah,
been a long
yeah.
time. I like Mike Tomlin.
and I can't help but notice how much luck the Steelers are depending upon
Cabin
to win
wasn't
these
telling
games.
me that. Cabin says it's
Because
pure skill. Cabin says it's pure. It's all by
I
design.
was listening to Troy Aikman being like, "That was a bad pass, great catch." And it was like, he just underthrew that ball by a lot, and
Yeah.
George Pickens
Troy was making a lot
made
of
an
jokes last
amazing
night.
catch.
Troy was feeling himself.
Although this is how insane fantasy football is, I had the Steelers kicker last night, and I needed him to score 14 points or more for me to win my week.
How'd you do?
I won by less than 1 point. He scored 14 points exactly.
He got it.
And I would have lost if Pickens would have got both feet in the end zone in that pass.
Hey.
And it was the weirdest thing I've ever seen where he touched 1 foot twice, the same foot.
It was a double hop. Yeah, you saw the double hop.
And then
There were people saying, the chat rooms on Reddit, they're like, I don't think he could ever do that again. Like the double foot hop out of bounds.
Yeah,
That
because
was so slick.
It was insanity.
I would love it, dude.
and then his left foot just hovered above it. I thought when I thought he scored the touchdown, I screamed, "No!" And then Chris was like, "Stop doing this to your family. You can't be screaming. You're scaring the boys." And then I looked back and I was like, "What? Oh, it's not a catch!" And then old Boswell kicked another field goal.
Yeah,
I
he
needed
did.
that 3 points.
He got it.
He's the greatest kicker of all time in the franchise. Look at his numbers. It's disturbingly high.
But Ryan Fitzpatrick did bring up a point. He's like, wait a minute. So you're telling me that if a receiver catches a pass and then hops on 1 foot 20 yards and then goes out of bounds,
It's not a
then
touchdown.
it's not a catch?
I said the same thing to Andrea. I go, what he was doing, what he
And I-
did was more impressive.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's super hard to do.
If you could touch 1 foot, bring it off the ground, then touch it again, the double tap should kind of be.
I mean, all in the
it's
news
not,
this
though.
week, AP News was how long can you stand on 1 foot to determine your real, true athletic age. By the way,
yes.
if you're 48, you should be able to stand and hover for 40 seconds.
Steelers have a bye this week, and then they come back. Commanders, Ravens, Browns, Bengals, Browns, Eagles, Ravens, Chiefs, Bengals.
So the Chiefs is the only real competition in that mess.
Well, at the end of the year, they may not even, they be sitting all their starters, Mahomes. You know what I'm saying?
We only need 3 more. 3 more wins, and we're in the playoffs.
They may be 5 games ahead of everybody and just sit everybody
And I
for the
can't
rest
keep
of
up with who they acquire. They're always pushing people in, pushing people
It
out.
doesn't
dude.
matter.
No, it's
watching-
constant in and out, and it's always good people.
It's like watching EJ play with Pokemon. It's like, wait, what's his name this week?
yeah,
What do we got this
it's
time?
impressive, man.
Oh, then I bid a bunch on Juju Smith-Schuster because he had he's garbage.
Wah,
God,
wah.
I hate
Yeah.
fantasy.
I went 400 at Lazard, which is a really bad.
All
It was
right.
a bust.
We're done
Okay,
with it.
yes,
No.
we did it. We got it out of
I
our
love
way.
it.
Let's talk.
Congrats to your Steelers, though.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
Let's talk theme parks, Joey. So you said you wanted to tell me something that was going to blow my mind. So what do we got
Now,
here?
whenever Tom hears something like that, just understand that he's doing everything in his power to not have his mind blown. He
I'm
hates
hoping-
having his mind blown.
I love the challenge. I'm just hoping that these numbers I give you are so astronomical that it just makes you mad.
Well, we
Okay.
purposely waited. I will tell you that me and Tom purposely waited. We did not source the numbers
man,
on
I'm
ticket
glad.
prices because we knew you were going to come in and talk about it. But we did both have a conversation one morning where we're like, well, it's in the news. Everybody's bitching about ticket prices to the theme park. So we'll have to talk about that when Joey comes in. So where are we at with ticket prices now?
Oh,
So-
did they lower them? I'm joking.
I like that. Mind blown.
I don't think I'll be alive
No.
to ever see them lower.
No.
You know, maybe in some sort of dystopian future.
If you're doing
the,
if you're doing the show history math, Andrea and Andrea decided that we were priced out one full cycle ago.
Yep.
So the last time they raised them, we were like, yeah, I don't know.
It was. I moved here 21 years ago. I've been in Florida 21 years now. And the year I moved down here, I was able to get an annual pass to Disney, no blackout dates. $368.
20 years
Oh
ago,
my God,
21
that's
years ago.
That's old
This
man.
year they are $1,549.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
My first car wasn't $1,549.
Yeah, so I'm spending in upwards of like almost $5,000 for my whole family to
So-
go if I want the big dog passes, right?
The big dog annual passes.
Yes.
Now, if you want to get on the rides, you got to buy the new express passes, the new lightning lanes.
So it's 15, 15, 15. So I got 3 of them. I'm in for 3 of those, and then I got to get 3 lightning lane or
For
whatever.
every day you're in the park.
So that's something I need to buy every time I go. I can't just buy a yearly version of that.
No.
Oh God, this is a mess now.
Yeah.
This is
So,
a mess.
like, if you want to go to the Magic Kingdom, it hurt my soul to write these numbers down. If you want to go to the Magic Kingdom during peak season, like Christmas, you want to take your kids, you want to see the tree, you want to do all that stuff.
Yeah, it is really
And,
nice.
and this is for season passes or just regular tickets?
No, this isn't even the ticket. This is a one day. You already have the ticket. You already spent the $200 to go to the park that day. So you, the missus, and the boys,
Okay.
$800 for one day at the Magic Kingdom.
Okay.
Just to walk in the door and say, hey, look.
$800 gets me through the door. Okay.
That's it.
All right.
Now the kids say, hey, I want to do Space Mountain. I want to do Tron. I want to do all the rides I want to do. There's like 24 rides in that park.
I said, no.
We're here to sit here. You're going to sit here and people watch.
Let's say you
Find a person that you see that looks unique and start sketching them in your sketchbooks.
That's option A. Option B is for $449 a person. You can go on all the rides one time with no line. You just walk up to the express line or the lightning lane, and you touch your ticket, and you can get on the short line.
Now, am I okay with I spent my $1,500 or my $200. We're back at the $200.
Yeah.
So me and Tom and our kids, we spent $200 a ticket. Can I just go and wait in a 5-hour line for
Yes.
a ride? Okay.
So let's say you're going
to. I can go and be miserable. So misery is guaranteed.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
Misery's free.
Yeah,
Misery's free.
Is free.
Okay.
Misery's free.
Okay,
Bottled
sure.
waters are still $6, but misery's free.
Okay, so there is the option of you go straight to and give everybody the I get there as early as I can. I'm in the park, and when do they open?
Well, here's the other disadvantage.
Yeah, please.
The park opens at 9 o'clock, but if you're staying at a Disney hotel, it opens at 8:30. So a lot of the people staying at the Disney hotels already have that half-hour advantage, so they're already ahead of you.
Right.
So even if you get to the park at 8 o'clock and you get in line and you get ready, and at 8:30, you go to the ride you want to go on, there's that's on
Damn,
me.
Joey. This dude, you can move the microphone away from your ass when you're saying this. I don't know why this guy likes to fart on the mic. You got Howard Stern over here.
Baba Booey.
Yeah.
Baba Booey. And so you can get there early. So you show up early and you go to Space Mountain. There's already a 90-minute wait.
Okay.
So you're already showing up to the park.
Oh, Tom loves it when you show up for a 90-minute wait. That's your favorite thing, right? Don't they call you 90-minute Tom?
So imagine getting to the park. You get the kids up. You get there early. You get your Starbucks. You
Yeah.
spent your $800. You go to Peter Pan. You open up your phone and you tell your kids to watch the movie on your phone so they know what the hell they're doing. And when that movie's over, you still got a 30-minute wait in the line.
That's a good joke. I like
Right?
that. Yeah,
Thank you.
I like that joke, Joey.
So going back to how much the fast passes are,
Yep.
did you say they're $449 a piece?
During peak season, $449.
Yeah.
So what that means
He's giving
is
us worst case scenarios for
yeah.
everything.
Oh, the best case scenario is only about $100 worse.
So for,
Yeah, I mean, you're only saving $100 if it's a good day.
I go in with my family. I'm $800 in for the tickets, and then I'm another
$1,800.
That's insane.
Well, but that's to make it because remember, with Gone are the day when you open up your ticket and you have 3 fast passes just there, right?
Those were the good old days.
Yeah, so remember, that's when it left me. I used to love going. Maisie loved going to Disney. We'd breeze in. We'd pick our 3 rides that we wanted to do. We'd hit them and we'd breeze out. I am correct in that is gone.
So you can still do that, but you have to pay for it.
Okay.
So there's the baller tier where you spend your $450 and you walk on water. And then for a slightly lesser cost, you can spend closer to $60 a person, and then you can book them on your phone. The problem is it's like trying to find a date to prom day of. You got to take what's there. Your kids want to go on Thunder Mountain, Space Mountain, and Mine Train, and the only thing available is Winnie the Pooh, PhilharMagic, and the Teacups. So yeah, you can spend the $60 to do rides, but you're basically stuck doing the rides nobody wants to do. So you can either have 30% of a good time, 0% of a good time, or 100% of I have to refinance my house and call that mortgage
Now,
guy.
there is a part of me that sneakily does love that the option for paying, you just get the scraps, forcing you to the big dog ticket. There's a part of greed in me that when I hear that, I'm like, well, they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They obviously are doing this to funnel everybody up to that top tier ticket,
Of course.
especially if you're already in Florida.
In for a penny, in for a pound.
Right.
This vacation's already, I have to refinance my house for this vacation. I might as well just go
that
into
is
debt.
a lot. That is a lot of dough. That is, I'm glad that Maisie's through that phase.
So if you were out of town and you wanted to take your family of 4 to Orlando for, let's say, a 5-day parks vacation and stay at a Disney resort.
Oh,
right?
God.
Okay, yeah. After Disney resort, so
Yeah.
you're buying
You
food
need to
at the
need to
resort.
start saving, man.
Yeah. I mean, with tickets, and even if you want to do have only a couple days
Did
of
you
fast
say
pass.
5 days in the parks? Because
That's-
people do that.
Yeah.
It used to be the way you did it. You would go and you do Universal and Disney.
That's the number.
Oh my God! Yeah.
What is it?
So, if you have a family of 4, you're staying at a Disney hotel, we'll say the Contemporary for convenience.
Okay.
That's a good one. It's not too crazy.
With your base meal, we're doing no character dining. Let's say your base meal, it'll cost you around $40 a person to eat.
Okay.
After you buy 4 days, 4 parks, each park you pay for the highest tier pass for all 4 of your kids. Just the tickets, no food, nothing else.
Yeah.
Just the tickets and the lightning lanes comes to $7,220 for 4 days.
Chat room was getting pretty close. Yeah, they're you guys are. I was impressed.
That's
Chat
with the
room doing
resort
good.
too.
No. Now for the resort, if you're going to stay at the Contemporary, that's going to cost you another about $700-800 a night.
Okay.
So now at 4 nights, you're looking at another $3,200.
I
So
mean,
that
the
brings us-
Contemporary, the 700, the extra $700 to stay at the Contemporary is actually more of a value than anything else you're even getting.
You nailed it. It's
Yeah,
so convenient.
I mean, it is convenient, but I'm just saying it's still expensive. But at least you're getting something. you
So
know?
after tax, that puts us at $11,000 for 4 days of fun. And we haven't talked about food yet. Wait, you kids got to eat.
Wait a minute, you could go to a pretty nice
Screw
place.
food, booze. I gotta get drunk if I'm spending
Well,
$11,000.
you can.
You
Remember,
can.
at Disney parks, it's a little harder though.
Well, you still can, but you got to get the cabana at the Contemporary, and that's going to cost you around $1,100-1,200, and that doesn't include the cost of food. So realistically,
15K.
yeah, 15K
15K.
gets you an okay vacation. That doesn't get you a great one. It gets you an okay one.
Okay,
You could go
so
on a destination trip to somewhere awesome for 15K.
I went to the Big Island of Hawaii a couple years back when
Yeah.
we went to see Jetsons Ironman. It cost us $10,000.
Nice.
Right,
which is
And-
expensive, but it's $5,000 cheaper than that.
Which I thought was, and at the time I was like, we're still paying it. I'm like, I don't know. There's some credit cards that are still full.
I get it.
But and I remember at the time, I'm like, well, this is a once in a lifetime. I mean, the kid's uncle running the Ironman. We're going to see him get married. You know, the whole
Yeah,
thing. We're
yeah.
going to go to Hawaii.
Sure.
So, so I justified. I was like, $10,000 is a lot, an insane amount, which I could never comprehend spending when I was younger. But it's worth it for a once in a lifetime. $15,000. I know people like Disney World and the parks and stuff, but I don't think you leave there thinking this is a once in a lifetime vacation. Maybe you do if you really love the parks, I guess. But God,
It's just
They go every year. There are people that go every year. Think about that. If you go 10 years in a row, that's $150,000.
Yeah, and again,
when
in the
does it
chat
price
room-
everybody out?
Well, the chat room wants to point this out. I mean, we are doing worst case scenario here. And Joey, if you did need advice, you could talk to Joey, and Joey would probably be able to tell you how to do that on the cheap, right? I mean, that is something that you know how to do.
If you go, excuse me, tickets during peak season, family of 4, $7,220. Let's say if you go during dead season.
All right.
Dead season. I'm talking where there's almost nobody in the park.
That's a lie. There's always people.
I'm
the
giving you
dead
best.
season, I walk in, I'm like, what the hell?
Let's say
you don't go enough, though. You know, to see some contrast.
we just had a hurricane, we'll say, and nobody can go to the park because planes are delayed, not coming in. For whatever reason, worst case scenario. Again, best case scenario, $7,200 or expensive. If you go to the park during slow season, family of 4, all the tickets, $5,400. It only saves you $2,000.
That's so expensive.
You know what I was thinking about? Did you go to the parks right when they opened up after they closed them for Milton?
Dude.
Was it dead? Because
was
I imagine
amazing.
so many people canceled their trip because of that.
And Disney was the holdout, right? Like, I think Universal was the first one to be like, okay, we'll cancel. And then Disney was like, I don't know. They're like, Disney's
But
like
they-
you.
they only
Captain
closed-
Tom. They're like, we don't close for nothing.
No.
They closed for one day and they were open back up on like Friday, right?
Yeah, it was
like,
the next. Universal Studios is, I love Universal. It's closer to my house. I go there more often. I've done Halloween Horror Nights. Me and Jem have been 18 times already this year. We love
Wow.
it. And we're going to, so the cool thing about Universal, there's that famous
I
picture.
don't think I've had sex with my wife 18 times. Like, I'm serious about that. One of them was to produce a child, but I don't. It's
yeah.
serious. That's a lot of Halloween Horror Nights.
It's obsessed. We love it. But there's that picture of where the Hulk roller coaster is. You know how it goes underneath the water?
Yeah.
And during the hurricane, that all flooded. So it looked like the Hulk couldn't run because it couldn't go through the water. It was like a swimming pool.
No, really?
Yeah, Universal had that thing drained the next morning. They were already running the ride again.
We
I'm like,
drained it. We done greased up the tracks again. It's fine. It's fine. We greased them.
Yeah, but so it was dead because I did think about that. I was like, man, I bet this is a good time to go to the parks if you're ever waiting for a super dead day. But I still think, I mean, there's no way you're walking on rides with no line. It's still like a little tiny line, right?
Yeah,
it's still like a
probably.
25, 30-minute wait, which isn't bad, but it's still a wait because there's the diehards like me.
Yeah. And to all the locals, they knew, they were like, oh, after the hurricane, let's go now.
Yeah. My favorite thing to do when we had our passes was to go out when it rained because I was like, oh, yeah, less people.
And it doesn't seem to be slowing down. I mean, they're not raising the prices and then because they're just guessing that they're going to make more money. They've probably done the math, done the research, and like, hey, people are still going to come. People are still going to pay this, and you know, and maybe this will thin out the parks a little bit, and we'll just keep increasing. You know,
I don't know.
I don't know.
I think they think that, but I have yet to really see that because the last time I've even done anything like park adjacent, it was just like even like Disney. When you go out to the not City Walk, what's the Disney?
Oh,
version?
Disney Springs.
Thank you, Disney Springs. When you go out to that, it's still slammed. I mean, it's like it's free and it's just like you put Disney's name on it and it's just crazy.
Yeah.
Well, they've talked about that for years at Disney Springs, saying, here's what we're going to do. We're going to charge, annual pass holders can still come park for free, but we're going to start charging people, say, $10 to park here. And I'm like, if they charged people $10 to park there, it would still be uncomfortably full.
Yeah.
It would still be.
Why going there? So what's going on? Let's talk a little bit about Universal before we run out of time. Is there any news about
Epic Universe?
Yeah, okay. So it's all Epic Universe is all we're talking about now.
Everything is Epic Universe. It's literally, they're still doing a great job of keeping Universal and Islands of Adventure and Volcano Bay still amazing, a lot of fun. But Epic Universe is going to raise the bar to some unparalleled points. Just with the Nintendo Land, How to Train Your Dragon's Land. They just dropped all the video for that Universal Classic Movie Monster Land.
Yeah,
it's going to be insane. It boasts that it will have the scariest roller coaster on Earth. You're on this roller coaster and movie monsters are just jumping out at you. It's going to be stupid.
And at the very end, you have to make love to Dog the Bounty Hunter. That's what makes it so scary.
Gotta give it a
kissing
crack.
you with only his front teeth, and he's tonguing your face. Oh, it's terrifying.
So for Halloween Horror Nights,
Yes.
On actual Halloween, is it going to be insanely packed like you've never seen, or is it going to be a little thinned out because most people are taking their kids and like you know, I wonder
I think
that
they should shut it down on Halloween just to be a disruptor. Like, we don't run it on Halloween.
And is there anything special to go on actual Halloween? Do they do anything different?
I mean, it would make sense to be if you were going to go through the mazes or houses or whatever you want to call them, I would expect every character to give me their best on Halloween. If you give me your half-assery on Halloween, I'm going to be upset. I want full werewolf.
It's a changing thing. Halloween Horror Nights is a living, breathing entity. It's hilarious. If you go on opening night, they do a great job, but you can still see that they don't know where the scariest parts are. They don't know where they're going to get people. They don't know where there's going to be that moment where the boo, As you go weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks later, it gets better and scarier and like more terrifying because they see what works. They know that this particular character in this particular scare zone is scary, and this other character is just one that people want to take pictures with for social media.
That's the difference between them and us. We just keep doing the same old thing. We're like, don't change anything. It's perfect.
And don't they run it through the weekend, or like when does it officially close?
It closes, I think, November 2nd is the last day. They usually do it up until wherever Halloween falls. That weekend is the last one.
Okay, so Saturday. So maybe Friday, Saturday, like November 1st and 2nd. Do people, I mean, is that packed? Do you think, like, it kind of stinks to go to Halloween Horror Nights in November?
It does. It feels a little weird. Feels a little weird.
But again, if you can see it with it being less packed, then maybe, or to, like, everybody try to get it before it ends. Yeah. You know, like
I mean, I think it would be fun to come on. I mean, you go on the last day, maybe it'd be like probably less people, which might be kind of fun.
Yeah. Although
maybe they give you something, like when you go to a trade show, and I don't want to take all this garbage home. Here, take a skateboard. Like maybe they'll get, here, take this skull, because we don't want these anymore. We don't want to put these away.
That's my favorite part of the year.
Yeah.
They do the big sale. I posted that video last year. At the end of the year, Universal Studios does this amazing sale. It's in the parking lot across from the Papa John's.
Somebody had diarrhea in this Ghostbuster suit, and you can buy it. It's like, all right.
Everything Halloween related that they don't want to keep, they sell it. It's a week long. And the first day, it's everything is out there with a sale price, and then you take 50% off that. And then the next day, it's 60%, 70, 80, 90. The last day you're there, you're getting T-shirts for $1.85. You're
really?
Oh, my gosh. I did all my Christmas shopping last year. It was $1,400. The whole thing came to like $87. I got an $80 button-up Chucky shirt for $2.85.
Oh, so you're going to a wedding.
Bingo. Yes. I hate that you're
I
right.
get all my fancy clothing at Universal Studios Movies gift shop.
Pinky out, baby.
And I think I remember this from years prior, Joey, but doesn't like Disney do a big changeover event where it goes from Halloween to Christmas?
Yeah.
When is that happening?
That happens, I think, around the same time, early November. It's when they take...
So it's maybe this weekend.
Yeah.
Because I know EJ's wife does that. She puts out the decorations.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
They do, they take all the Halloween stuff and then and then put the Christmas stuff. So don't people go 2 days in a row to see Halloween and then see the next day Christmas? Or there's something like that.
Every vlogger goes day in, day out.
EJ's saying November 1st, so it's the night of Halloween. They flip it.
Okay.
That's crazy.
It is nuts.
It is
They were
cool
able
that
to
they
take
do it.
all
See, I
down.
do like that. Look, I don't like it for those people, but from what I understand, they do get paid pretty well to do that flip because it's a lot of pressure. But I do like the idea of, no, it's November, and then you wake up and you look at Disney, and it's all red and green.
I love it. I go every year.
That is the magic. Like when you say Disney magic, it's just humans being paid not enough money to work their ass off.
Yeah, it turns out magic is just throwing money at something.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, hard
You
work.
can throw money at a lot of stuff, and then people are like, poof, it appears.
Yeah.
You just have an army of people.
I think that, like, I was thinking about this last night high, and I was like, Beetlejuice is Halloween Grinch.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Like, they act the same. Like, they would hang out.
Yeah.
Like, Grinch and Beetlejuice, like, are, like, I think they're bros.
Wouldn't that be
100%.
the ultimate crossover film? Oh my gosh, you might have just thought of $1 billion idea.
Although I don't like to think of Grinch as being as horny as Beetlejuice, because that's weird, right?
Well, remember the Grunch?
The Grunch.
Remember we talked about this last time with the big green.
Oh, there's a porno?
Yeah.
The Grunch?
Oh, yeah.
The parody. The Grunch.
And then
I don't remember anything we say on this show.
and then the grunge is with Cindy Lou, and you're like,
That's what I was
the
referencing.
grunge is a pedophile.
Yeah, I was like, this is not good.
Really? Like, I'm pretty sure she's not of age yet.
She has on flat pajamas.
And all the green paint.
The dad and the mom are cool with it.
You know the paint? You know they have paint that lasts now.
Really?
And my dad, he told me on his deathbed, he was like, I hope I live to see paint and porno stay on the weenie. And I was like, Dad, come back. And he died. And he didn't make it, but I made it.
Why would you say that?
I don't know why I would say that. That's a crazy one.
So,
I have no
it's
answer.
true.
I
know
have
it's
no
not.
answer for that one.
Oh,
so Joey, anything else before we get out of here?
Just because it's there, I want to make sure that SeaWorld gets a little bit of love. Hollow Scream used to be at Tampa at Busch Gardens. For the past few years, they brought it here to Orlando, Florida, so it is in SeaWorld, but it is terrifying. It is.
It's very terrifying. It's very crazy.
I have a lot of friends that work there.
What I mean, do they
I want to give him some love.
do they do haunted houses and that
They
kind
do
of thing?
5 haunted houses, a few scare zones, but it's like,
One of them is in the shark encounter.
yeah, it's.
No, I made that up.
Oh no, it is.
But that would be
Oh,
terrifying. Like, I thought
Yeah.
about this for a minute, and I was like, why don't they? Now, they would never do this because like you couldn't get away with it with the way people are sensitive. But what do sharks like to eat, right? We know this. You know this.
Yeah.
They like rotten meat. And we knew that most sharks, at least when we went shark diving, they like to find things that are already dead and eat it, right? So you take a cow that was humanely murdered and already dead, and in the shark encounter, you just lay it over that tunnel you go over, and all the sharks are eating it and ripping it apart. That's terrifying.
You just pitched a Blumhouse movie
But
right
that
there.
would be like, imagine going through the tunnel and you look up and there's a cow carcass being devoured by sharks. That's terrifying.
Yeah. The fake, or like, I guess real blood, right?
Yeah, real
Yeah.
blood.
Yeah.
Well, you drain most of it. You just see some cartilage and.
And you got the strobe lights, and it's freaking them out.
Yeah,
Their
you can
brains
put the
are
strobe
they're
lights.
ramming their heads.
Bring the
in.
cow out, serve it as at the
Oh
little
yeah, I didn't
quick
think about
service.
that part. The strobe lights are going to drive them nuts. You can't do it. Cancel it. Cancel the night. You can't do it.
And then of course, the Christmas season is basically the rest of the year after Halloween.
Is there anything new coming, like for the holiday? Nobody does anything for Thanksgiving. There's no Thanksgiving.
No, Thanksgiving got canceled.
Yeah.
because of its
I love
backstory.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
Dude,
but
I love. My gosh.
It's just all Christmas. Christmas is where the money's at.
Yeah.
Like it's hard. Like you, some pilgrims. Pilgrims are stinky.
Yeah.
Pilgrims are stink. I don't know if you knew this, but the Italians hate the pilgrims. Hey, is that the pilgrim? The pilgrims are stinky.
And then also, like people portray the pilgrims as being like, they're
Oh
little.
no, they were
little,
diseased white man with
Yeah.
muskets.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure the
Trying to
pilgrims did
steal-
some horrible things
They were
too.
trying to steal the indigenous people's treasures.
Yeah.
Remember, we were brought up the thought that like, oh yeah, they had lunch together and it was not.
No. I think they hacked their hands off and stole their gold.
Yeah, but
burned their ships to the ground.
They coughed smallpox on them all.
Yeah.
Was that the blanket thing or was that something else?
Well, that was later.
That was,
okay.
that
But
was
it's
Michael
like-
Jackson, you idiot. I'm joking.
Is that kid still named Blanket?
Well, I mean, I don't think he goes by Blanket anymore. I think once he turned 18, he's like, you know what? I'm Steve now.
He's managed to stay out of the limelight, right?
Put a blanket on it.
You never say anything about a blanket.
I mean,
right?
he hit the peak. He like most embarrassing thing ever. My dad held me over a crowd of people where I could have died, could have fallen to my death. And he called me blanket, and his nose fell off. And then my dad's nose fell off. I love you, Dad.
And there's some other stuff.
Yeah, there's some other stuff. There's a horrible birthmark on my dad's penis. And his nose fell off.
Maron. So
you can't say that.
Yeah, you can say.
I can't say that.
No, you can't say
Oh
that.
my gosh, I'm sorry. My bad.
No, I'm not joking. I have no idea what you just said.
Oh, just
I thought it was a racial slur.
no, not at all. It's just
okay.
frustrated. No, sorry. No.
I don't know.
Tom got happy and sad. He loves racial slurs, but he knows he can't say them. Okay.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more Corporate Time. Welcome back to A Corporate Time. Let's do some voicemails.
All righty. Let's actually voicemail and email because I got a couple of these. I want to hit them before they become obsolete. This is from BDM Drew. He says, just listening to Friday's free show. Pardon me. Just listening to Friday's free show. Jungle Gyms was a chain. 30 years ago, my girlfriend worked at one near the Volusia Mall in Daytona Beach. I remember her studying the menu as the wait staff had to memorize more than 200 different burgers as they were not allowed to write their orders down at the table. Did you know that?
What?
I gotta look this up. 200 different burgers.
Seems like that's going to cause a lot of problems.
There was a Jungle Gyms in Pittsburgh. It was 4 stories tall.
I knew you would know about Jungle Gyms. Dude,
Yeah.
Jungle Gyms, I've been getting more email about the dumb Jungle. You know what really triggered people when I mentioned Jungle Gyms? And I didn't know I was going to trigger this many people in saying this. For some reason, everybody my age, between like 40 and 48, has a memory of the little plastic monkey that would hang on the side of your Jungle Gyms glass.
100%.
What happened to those little plastic monkeys? We need to bring those back. I'll start putting those in every BDM t-shirt sold. Every Tom and Dave item sold, you get a free plastic monkey.
Like the plastic monkey from Barrel of Monkeys.
Yeah,
with the
kinda.
hook hands.
Kind of like
Yeah,
that.
okay,
Yeah,
all
very
right.
similar to like a barrel of monkey.
I feel like
Somebody has a picture of the menu online. Oh, here's what it looked like inside.
Yeah.
Tom, okay, here. This is
Yeah.
the first time I've ever been able to find a picture of it inside. So it had like these crazy ass like giraffe heads and, you know, it looked like, and they had the elephant. You sat on an elephant foot.
All right.
See that? I don't know if you can see that. You sat on a severed elephant foot for a stool. It's
okay.
like poachers. It's like, look, all the poachers that chopped all the elephant's feet off. And that's what you were sitting on. Where can I get one of these? I got to get one of these, dude. Where can I get a Jungle Gyms poached elephant foot stool? Oh, God, they were so cool. But I can't find that. I'm trying to find the menu. Somebody said they put the menu online of the 200 different burgers.
I'll give you the quickest version of it. Jungle Gyms is literally American Ninja Warrior meets Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh, really?
That's exactly what it was. We used to love it, man. I was 14, 15 years old. We were still going there. Me and my buddies in high school and all the girls that we used to hang out with would go there all the time.
I mean, there were just so. I remember that it was the first place there. It blew my dad's mind, Jungle Gyms, because it was the first place I'd ever been to where my dad's like reading the menu, and it was a time when my dad had just gotten, and we're going through this now, so I got to witness what my dad was doing as I'm doing it now. I remember my dad had his reading glasses in his pocket in a little leather case, and they were little readers. And he took the little leather case out. He took his reading glasses out, just like you and I do. And he was looking at this ginormous mega Jungle Gyms menu. And I remember him pointing out one specific burger that he thought was absolutely insane. And he was like, peanut butter and jelly on a goddamn hamburger? No way. No, not for me. That's a no for me, dog.
That's
like 100% that my dad thought that was the craziest thing he'd ever seen. Peanut butter and jelly on a hamburger. It should not happen. It should not be a thing. But apparently it is.
I remember when I was younger and I saw Pulp Fiction and they went to the 1950s themed restaurant where they ate. Like the booth was a car, you know,
like a Johnny Rockets or something.
Yeah. And then it was like all themed, and I thought, I was like, at the time I was like, oh, I bet there's all these themed restaurants out there for adults that are cool, and there's not that many themed restaurants.
No,
really, you know what I'm saying? And then there's a themed restaurant.
Theme restaurants are hard, I think.
In the park, Joey, that you can eat in a car. I forgot there was
you're
Sci-Fi Dine-In Theater at Hollywood Studios. Yeah,
that actually is still pretty fun. It's weird eating and it being that dark, but it's still pretty fun.
The problem is that you sit. It's supposed to be a drive-in, so you got 2 seats in front, 2 seats in back, 2 seats behind that. So if you're a family of 6, you have like mom and a little one in the front, and then dad and a little one in the second seat, and then 2 kids behind you, and it's impossible to monitor all your children at once.
Yeah, no, I remember eating that. I think we took the kids there when they were real young or whatever. Me and Crystal ate there, and it was like $127.
Oh, yeah, for hamburger.
And I'm like, this would be better on heroin.
That'll make it better, too. When you make those comments.
Pulp Fiction knew.
Yeah, this is what I do. When you make those comments, it makes it better when you just start crapping on the day. I'm good for that. I'm really good at that. So let's try this voicemail right here.
What's up, guys? Ben with the Y here. Hey, I was calling about the cell phone thing when you were saying, take away the cell phones for the kids that are in school and on the BDM show. And listen, if you've ever tried to call up to a school, like my daughter goes to Lake Brantley High School, and I'll stand by it. You don't have to bleep it out. They don't answer the goddamn phone. You call up there, they won't answer the phone. Like, I've called every single extension there when they say, dial this, dial that, when you dial the operator.
Wait a minute, all the extensions? Every single one?
What are you calling them about?
I'm just bored. I don't want to do my job, so I sit at my job and I call my daughter's school and I dial every single extension in the hopes of getting somebody.
No one answers the phone, so the only way you can relay information to your child is if they have their cell phone. That is the only way. And then to add to that, with our kids, so my son's 18 now, my daughter's 14. We didn't give them cell phones until they had a need to get in contact with us or they had someone to call. So with my son, I think he didn't get his cell phone until he was in 9th grade because we were like, who you calling? You got no one to call. You know what I mean? Like, we're here. If you need to talk to anybody, you can use our phone.
Well, you don't have any friends. You have no one to call. You're not getting a cell phone until you get some friends.
My daughter got one in 7th grade because she went away and stayed a night at a friend's house, and they went on a trip, and we wanted to be able to get in touch with her, so we ended up getting her cell phone for that. So anyway, hey, love you guys. Bye.
Love you too, buddy. I dread the cell phone. I don't want to. It's coming.
I guess, what does that matter at the end of the day? It's like breast milk. Cell phones are like breast milk.
I'm listening.
I'm roaming.
It doesn't, at a certain, when everybody's middle age, it's all the same. Like, you don't give your kid a cell phone until they're 18, or you give them one at 9. I feel like they're going to all be the same when they're 38. It's like nothing. No, there's going to be very little
it'll
different.
Shake itself out.
Like,
well, it is going to be different for everybody because everybody's different, right? I mean, it just makes sense. Maisie has asked for a cell phone, and I just tell her no. I just say you're not ready for one. Now, she does have an Apple Watch that she can text me and her mom and her grandparents on,
Cool.
So that's kind of cool, I guess.
Yeah, and the kids have, and it's really not even about like the social media. Crystal's like, I don't want them on social media and all this stuff, and I'm like, I don't want them to have direct access to the worst thing you could possibly think of because that's what the internet gives you. And it's like, no matter what, I imagine people are curious. I've told the story before. I'm not going to say it again. But you can search for anything and it'll show it. Anything.
Yeah.
And then some
now you can just create it. You can make, if it's not there, AI will create it for you.
I wonder if that is going to cause less trauma when AI can create anything. So then you're like looking at everything, you're just doubting whether it's real or not. Like when I saw the things that I searched for back in the late 90s, I knew it was real. There was no way.
It was grainy. It looked like a murder. It looked like a murder.
Did you have that
photo.
channel, the Scramble channel?
Like Jurassic Park just came out, and the CGI wasn't that good.
You're like, wait a minute. Like, you didn't even need 1 second of looking at it. You're like, it's authenticated.
Yeah. So, but in the future, I guess it could look as real as the real stuff. So then maybe it's less damaging if it's all like questionable real. I don't know. Anyway, it's what are you gonna do? There's nothing you can do.
Let's try this email right here. This is to a corporate time. Dan, Tom, and special guest of hanging around. That would be you, Joey.
Thank you.
I was taking a stroll on Sunday morning in the downtown Orlando area where I came upon 3 separate photo shoots. Number 1, engagement. Number 2, family. Number 3, baby. At Dickerson Azalea Park on Washington Street. I was just curious if you had any suggestions on locations in Orlando, Central Florida, to do photo shoots. I'm prideful enough to consider hiring a professional photographer to take dating profile pics rather than ask friends and help in taking pictures of me. Thank you, Clay.
I've got a good one.
They do a lot around the lake here.
Yeah, the lake here. I mean, Moonjet Photography. Tony Moonjet, our buddy, he has like places around. We've done photo shoots with our boys at.
Yeah.
There's some Winter Park Lake. Park.
What was the one where you dressed them up like they're little good fellas? Like they're like little
that's
Goombas.
cool.
They had the fedoras.
That was at Lou Gardens.
That was pretty.
Like Lou Gardens, you could do photo shoots at.
Yeah.
Like, and then there's
Any rich person's yard, I feel like they'll just come out and yell at you. You just walk away. It's like no big deal.
Here's some advice: head towards the money. That's wherever the money's at. That's where the photos are at.
I did see a guy over here by the Baldwin fountain.
Yeah.
You know, the one that rolls through the... Okay, there's a main drag in Baldwin where all the rich mansions are.
Yeah,
I don't live around that, okay?
Yeah.
I think everybody knew that. But there is a waterfall there, and that waterfall bridge, there's always a pregnant woman holding her belly with a man behind her holding the belly, too. And they're always taking photos. Always.
That's funny.
Where do you got, Joey?
The best one, and this is one that nobody has ever done. So whoever does this first, you better hurry up and trademark it. Nobody has ever proposed to their wife in front of Cinderella's castle at Magic Kingdom.
No, he's doing jokes. He's got jokes.
Never. It's almost like I didn't see it 7 times in one day. So nobody ever does it. So make sure you do it and be the first one. And make sure you hashtag
you're only doing that because that's what she wants. You're not doing that. You know it's unoriginal, right?
I would. You
it's
have
like
to.
me getting engaged to my wife on on Christmas Eve or around the time of Christmas. You know what I mean?
I thought you were going to stop it at me getting engaged to my wife, and I'm like, wait.
No, but like I did it. Like what I did was such a cliche, and it was so unoriginal. It sucked.
I like when you're on the one knee in front of Cinderella's castle, you tell her, get ready for a life very unlike Cinderella. Because it's only downhill from here. And there won't be birds putting on your dress.
I manage an H.H. Craig, and they just closed our location.
There's going to be the cops showing up at our house for domestic violence. I'm sorry.
There is a high probability of domestic violence there, especially in that area and around around that area, around the theme park area. A lot of wife beaters.
Oh my gosh.
Look at the maps.
Yeah.
Look at the maps. A lot of pedophiles around our studio for some reason. That's very, very odd.
Let's do another voicemail.
All right. Hold on, buddy. I got to go back in here and get them now. I closed out the. If you want to leave us a voicemail. It's super easy to do. You can call 1-844-TOMNDAN or show@tomandan.com if you would like to leave us a voicemail message or an email message.
Yo, BDM Neil here. If y'all have EJ in only once a month and you still pay him, even if you don't pay him, twice a month during football season is deserved. Because it's football season. Give it to my boy. Love y'all. Peace.
People do love EJ. We've had a few people reach out.
I thought the BDMs were all yelling that they hated him.
They were, but I think that was only because somebody anonymously said they hated him on the BDM page. And whenever anybody says that and you know it's bothering him, you're going to say, I hate him too. Right?
Yeah. And EJ has to take off work to come in here. And
I mean, couldn't he just not show up? And they'd be like...
I don't think they'd even notice.
Yeah, I don't think they'd be like, where the hell's our best guy? Right? I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah. And he used to do it once a week, and then we got pushed back about that big time. Then I had an awkward text conversation with him.
I hate to talk about a person that has a segment while there's another person that has a segment here.
Yeah.
It's all good.
But I will say that I very much enjoyed EJ's segment more when he was doing it at his job, and then his boss Toshiba would yell at him. That was the best version of this other version of him coming in is fine, but it's just not the Toshiba days. It doesn't have the zest that it had. Like he was always like disheveled, and she'd be like, "What are you doing?" He'd be like, "Hold on, guys." I'd be like, "Yeah," and then off mic he'd be like, "Yeah. Oh, I'll get the copies done. Yeah, I promise. I'll do it. Okay, bye. Sorry, Toshiba was a real bitch." That was the best. It was the best. Those were the best ones.
Let's do another voicemail.
All right. Let's do this one right here. Hopefully I can play it.
Hey, gang, it's Zach from Ohio. So I would like to enjoy sex dreams like everyone else does. But when I have a sex dream, when the woman comes on to me, I'm like, oh, no, I'm sorry, I'm married. And I think, damn, I really want to fuck. But I'm not going to do that because that's what? I love my wife. And then you wake up and you think, what the hell? Why can't I? This is what lucid dreaming should be about. It should be about knowing that you're asleep, you're dreaming, and you can f whoever you want, and then you can pants.
Oh, wow.
3 times.
That's my fault.
Yeah.
That's my fault. That's me.
See,
What part of Ohio are you from, sir?
much like Zach, I too will think that when I'm in a dream where I'm like, I can't cheat on.
I think it makes you a better person. I think it makes you a better person because I always go for it.
But then, well, I
do. I like, and that. What does that say about me? I think it's a poor reflection on me that in my dreams I'm a brave little toaster. I'm the brave little toaster in my dreams.
Dude, what a great reference. I remember that movie.
Yeah, but I do. I have woken up before, and the sex with the woman in my dream was so real that I look over and I'm like, I have to do that again. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, that was amazing.
I think that subconsciously it's your wife every time. I think that you're too good of a guy and you wouldn't do that. I think that it is your wife. You just don't know.
This guy's ride or die right here. This guy's ride or die.
So
I appreciate that.
I'm not sure if I should even say this.
Okay, I like these. I love these. These are my favorites.
That
last one that I said was one of mine. The last one that I just said was one of mine.
I don't even know if I want to put it out there. I shouldn't even talk about it.
Okay.
But I'll have the dream. I'll be like, wait a minute, I'm not going to cheat on my wife. I love my wife. I'll ruin my family.
But then I pop up in your dream. I'm like,
Do it.
do it, man. What are you doing?
But
what
then
are you, pussy, man?
I'll have some, I guess, like lucid feeling pop in my head where I'm like, wait, hold on, this is a dream. But then the girl that was coming on to me was
She's like, I don't want this if this is a dream.
she's like, well, this is not the same deal anymore.
If it's a dream, it's not real. And she's like, I only want it if you're willing to really cheat on your wife. And you're like, what a conundrum.
And then I'm like, well, this is a dream. Should I take it anyway?
Yeah. Oh, that's your wife tricking you in your mind. That's your wife in your own mind.
And then I'm like, what the hell? And then I'm like,
crystal inside of you.
Well, no. Then I'm like confused, and I wake up in a cold sweat, and I'm like,
you're like, am I
what
gay?
did I just say?
I think I'm gay. You're like, yeah.
You guys are awesome. I never have these dreams. All my dreams are like, oh man, this is the best pizza I've ever eaten in my life. And did I
what are
really
you,
just
baby? In all of my dreams, I'm cutting people's heads off and cheating on my wife. Every dream is extreme violence and extreme sex.
You guys are amazing.
What's unfortunate is I don't dream at all, and that stinks.
My God.
Yeah, I have no dreams.
I feel like you are handicapped. I feel like that is sad.
I have no dreams.
I have some scary. Some of them are bad.
Crystal only has nightmares though, which I'd rather have nothing than only nightmares.
Yeah, that's true.
She has only.
It's like I have an unlimited supply of turd sandwiches.
and she wakes up scared every single morning.
Oh.
And I'm like, good God.
Yeah, I kind of do too.
What the hell? She'll be like, do you want to hear the horrible dream I had last night? I'm like, no, I don't.
Yeah,
why would you even want to tell me?
Yeah. Why would you?
I only have dreams on days that I drink, and that's unfortunate.
Oh, that's called a problem.
Back to you, Dan.
All right, we got to get out of here. Do you want to plug anything? Is there anything you need to plug?
Everything's awesome. If you guys would do me a favor, only because it's free, my wife has an Etsy page where she makes clothing and things for the theme parks. Really cool. Just go on to Etsy, look for stores. It's the Gem Jam, TheGemJam. Free to favorite her thing. It's just the more favorite she has, the higher it bumps her up in the scale. So throw her a bone. I appreciate it.
Makes sense.
Will she make me a grunge costume?
100%. Big old cucumber on the bottom.
All right. We will be right back. Welcome back to A Corporate Time.
Just sort of an update, because this one was weird because we talked about this and then we really never came back to it. But I don't know if you remember, a few weeks ago we talked about the movie Roadhouse.
Okay.
With old
Jake Gyllenhaal?
Jake Gyllenhaal, thank you. And also Conor McGregor. By the way, have you seen lately that Conor McGregor is completely out of control partying again? Like, the guy's like super puffy faced, drunk all the time, knocking crap around, yelling and screaming.
I have seen him on TikTok.
He's
he was
wild.
Like getting in some altercations with some people.
Yeah. He's just I kind of look at him and I think you are that way for real.
There's a little bit of the character of Conor McGregor that is reality.
Yeah, and a lot of it, I think.
But
it's weird.
It's just an exaggerated version of himself, I think. But there's some of that. He's not just like outside of the character in the limelight. All of a sudden, this guy's like perfectly behaved.
No. He's a fighting animal. He's a wild man.
And after that Mayweather fight, he got paid.
Well, that's when they say, I mean, like all the video documentation and in the news, they're basically equating the Mayweather fight to and that payday to the turn in his behavior. You know, like once you've made that amount of money for basically doing very, very little. And I mean, like,
and now he used the fame to just have a bunch of deals. He's got his whiskey, then he makes a ton of money, and then
Proper 12, and I've never tried it.
And then with the other endorsements and stuff, like the money's still flowing in.
Oh,
but now he's basically got an unlimited amount after the Mayweather.
And so we talked about him starring in the movie with Jake Gyllenhaal, the movie Roadhouse. And it was said by multiple male and female listeners that we have, not that it would matter, but I think it would matter because, you know, Jake's a good-looking guy, right? Like, you don't cast him in that movie to not look beautiful, that there was a horrible cyst on his back that in watching the movie Roadhouse made it, like, totally distracting. You couldn't focus on any of the fight scenes because of the cyst on his back, and somebody's freeze-framed it. There it is. You can see it. On the the right hand, or it'd be on his left shoulder on the right hand side, you can see this cyst.
Okay, there's a little bump.
It's a little bump. My dad had one of those. We were talking about.
So did my dad.
Does every dad have one of these?
I think you just develop
cysts?
like random cysts. Like
you got any cysts?
Nah.
No cysts? Yeah.
I
don't be afraid.
No, that's gnarly looking though, dude.
I don't have any cysts. I do have a big pore. I have a big pore right here on my neck.
Okay.
That my daughter sees, and she goes, ew! Like, it's like, I've reached that part of my life where my daughter's like, ew, look at you, your ass is red, ew! This is my daughter talking to me all the time. She's like, you need to do skincare. I can't do anything about that. It's just the way my pores grew.
Like an ingrown hair, right?
But no, it's like it's permanent. It's just like a pore that is bigger than the other pores, and it collects dirt and oil, so I have to clean it. It's gross. It is gross. I'm gross.
No.
Is that what you wanted to hear?
There's still a social media thing about like the Dr. Pimple Popper and like all the like popping pimples and cysts and stuff are still
some of these
popular.
Look like medical procedures. When you're using the hook that you stick in my molars at the dentist on a pimple, that's not a pimple.
It's gross.
It is. I can't do it. I can't do any of those videos, dude. I can't do them.
People like it though.
No, I can't.
Like they like.
You're a sick person. If you're like, oh, sit down. That was a television. That was like I was gonna say that was a television show. I was gonna be very European to you. That was a show that people would be like, oh, it's on 8 o'clock. Get in here. Get the popcorn. Dr. Pimple Popper's on.
Well, I hate when
That's
people.
a show, right?
When they call it therapeutic, they're like, "Oh, it's very therapeutic to watch." I'm like, "What are you talking about? It looks like a volcano erupted. It's gross."
And then they made fidget toys, like because Maisie's asked for them a couple times, where it's like a pad, and then you put the slime in it, and then you push the pad, and it simulates a pimple.
Okay,
I'm like, no, you're not getting that.
Out.
I'm like, the goal is to not get pimples, not to buy them and use them. Like, oh, I bought and I'm done with fidget toys and magnets. Done with them. Because my entire algorithm now is like, I get all the Kickstarter and all the GoFundMes for people that want to like, oh, we improve your focus with this magnet toy. You don't need that. You don't need twiddle your thumbs. You don't need no magnet toy. The magnet toys, that's what's wrong with the world. We didn't have our magnets. We can't think. I get so mad about that. Meanwhile, every pet in America is eating these magnet toys. They're getting stuck to their intestines.
I miss when the only like thing that was, I guess, you fidgeted with or you messed with
it's
was
your penis.
Well, the thing that had 1,000 like needles, and then you put your hand through it, and it shows the impression.
Yeah,
that was it. Like in the '90s, that
One of your
was
friends
all.
would do his ball.
Yeah. It's like that was the only thing that we had.
That's what we had.
Is a bunch of needles, and you're like, look at my hand, look at my face, stuck my tongue out.
I'm gonna mess up everybody's algorithm now. The one that's on my algorithm, I can't get it off. There's two products that I absolutely despise and hate, and I'm going to war on both these products, and I hate them. The first one are those pants where you don't wear underwear, and their competitor is Lululemon. They're just pants. They're like not Joybird, something bird. Those guys and Specs. The Specs, the little magnet Specs. It's like, oh, these are Specs. This will really get you to focus. I'm done. Over the Specs. Specs, I'm done with you.
They're like little pebbles that are magnets.
Yeah,
that
no,
you put them all together.
I'm at war with Specs. That's just destroying the Earth. We don't need that. You put magnets everywhere. There's just scattered magnets all over the place. A bunch of magnet trash everywhere. You're sourcing Chinese magnets, covering them in rubber, and just throwing them all over the world, Specs. I'm done with you.
There's a depressing
Bird
amount.
dogs. Thank you, chat room. Bird dogs. I'm at war with bird dogs because who wants to wear a pair of pants where you get poo in them? And I'm done with Specs, the magnet focusing toy. Nobody needs to focus so much that they have to carry around a little pocket of magnets.
What happened, Joey?
I'm gonna say and I don't like the idea of not wearing underwear because you know as well as I do after you go pee. You're not done.
No, exactly.
You shake it 4,000 times. You're not done.
So everybody that's wearing these bird dogs has yellow and brown behind.
It's just there's that puddle right there.
You're walking around in.
Are there a liner of some sort?
Yeah, there's a liner in there, but you're supposed to wear them. And like on a Monday, you put on your bird dogs and you're walking all around. And then Tuesday, put them right back on. Gross. That is gross.
The liner costs more than the pants. That's how they get you.
I don't think you can replace them. It's a non-replaceable liner. You have to wash them.
Oh.
These are no underwear. I've barked about this before, but this is the year I changed some things around here. I'm done with it. And Lululemon, I'm coming for you next with your pants or why do you think I call underwear pants protectors? That's what they're for. You're not supposed to it's like when my dad used to wear a chamois in his bike shorts. Well, that's only good for one use. You ride to Umatilla and back. That's what my dad would do. That was his route. My dad would ride to Umatilla on his 18 speed and ride back, and then you take them off and they're done. You don't wear them again on Tuesday. Bird dogs, what are you, disgusting animals? You've got poop ass.
Well, maybe they're for a younger generation that doesn't have the same problems as
everybody
us
has
middle-aged men.
No, everybody has those problems. All of them.
Well, when you're younger, things are tighter. And they're not as willy-nilly loose.
I don't know why everything's got to be action now. You ever notice that you can't buy a pair of pants that doesn't have a sideways cell phone pocket on it? I want some good old-fashioned dungarees. I want some nice khaki dungarees. That's no pockets, 2 in the front, 1 in the back for my wallet, like an American man. What's wrong with American man khaki dungarees? I know Melissa's going to clip this and make me look really old. But I feel like your grandpa would high-five me when I'm saying this.
Oh, yeah. Then you should...
I can't stand the action pocket. You've been wearing them, too. You wear space-age action pocket. This guy's wearing shorts. They're 3 inches long. They have a space-age action pocket on the side to hide his cell phone. It's like, what is happening with the world?
Well, that's keep it to my leg when I'm running. I can't just put it in my pocket. It just slaps me.
It slaps you good.
Yeah.
We got to get out of here.
We will see you tomorrow.